Recently, many dentists have managed to get their GDC paperwork ready for the ORE exam, so they are getting themselves ready for the ORE Part 1. Many of you keep asking me about what to study for the ORE Part 1, how to get prepared for the ORE Part 1 or the LDS Part 1. What are your tips, tricks, the advices, the resources of the study for this exam to get maybe pass from the first attempt, to save ourselves time, money and hassle, to get ourselves through to be able to sit the ORE Part 2. In this video, I'll talk and dedicate it for the ORE Part 1, the tips, tricks and the study material, how to study in a smart way, not a hard way, to be able to pass it from the first attempt. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is a video for a long time I have not done in English. This video is to give some advices about the ORE Part 1 and how to prepare for it. What is the cheapest way of passing these exams without needing maybe doing any courses or paying too much money to prepare for it. Many thanks for anyone who's watching and supporting the channel. I really appreciate your help. I hope you enjoy the content, and if you can, give us a subscribe and like, share this video with your friends, anyone who's preparing for the ORE Part 1, LDS Part 1, even the MFDS Part 1 or MFD. All of these exams are covered in this video about the resources, and I'll talk about our special website Dentists and how we can use it to improve our chances on passing this exam. So what is the ORE? ORE, as I mentioned before in one of my videos, ORE is the Overseas Registration Exam. This exam is run by the GDC, which is the General Dental Council. The General Dental Council hold this exam for the overseas dentists hoping to practice dentistry in the UK, so they have to sit this exam and pass both parts. ORE or LDS has many parts. ORE itself has Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 is the theory part of the exam, which I'm going to talk about in this video. ORE Part 1 comprises of two papers, Paper A and Paper B. Each paper is carried out in a day, so the days will be two consecutive days. It will be, let's say, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it doesn't matter. But this exam will be carried out in London, in King's College London, so you have to be physically in London, unlike the LDS Part 1 where you can do it online. So you can get your paperwork ready and you can apply for the LDS Part 1 and do the exam while you're in your home country. Otherwise, the ORE Part 1, you have to be physically in the UK in London to sit the exam. So the two papers of the ORE Part 1 are Paper A and Paper B. Each paper composes of 200 questions, has to be done in 3 hours. Paper A focuses on the basic dental sciences and applied dental science, and slightly on the clinical dental sciences. In regards to Paper B focuses on laws and ethics, guidelines, UK guidelines, BDA sheets, applied clinical sciences in dentistry, so anything restorative, endo, prosto, oral surgery is all covered by the Paper B. To be honest, when I sat the exam, when you do the Paper A, Paper B, you don't really tell the difference. It's all like sounds the same, they are mixed together, so you can get questions from Paper B with the Paper A and vice versa. So don't get yourself overwhelmed about this. Study and prepare for the exam as a whole. It doesn't matter about the titles of Paper A, Paper B, what to study. At the end of the day, you have to pass both papers. So in order to clear ORE Part 1, you have to pass Paper A and Paper B. Each paper has 200 questions, so you have to pass 100 in A and 100 in B. If you get 49% in one paper and the other one is 55, let's say, your overall is pass, but because you failed in one paper, then you failed the whole exam and you have to resit the exam again. So what are the resources and the books I would advise on reading? It's not my list, it's the GDC. So if you go on the GDC website and check what are the books recommended and the resources to study for the exam and prepare, it's all on the website, on the GDC website, which I'll leave down in the description so you can read through it and check it. But I'll go through it one by one. Book number 1 and the most important book, which I like and I always read even after passing the ORE Part 1, the LDS Part 1, regardless what exam you're taking, it's the pink book, or what they call Oxford Handbook of Clinical Dentistry. This book is just right behind me. I keep use and read this book. There's a lot of information, easy to read, summarize everything, concise, a lot of questions and answers like all you can find in this book. I would read it from the first page to the last page to make sure I've covered everything. The second book I would suggest on reading is the Blue Book, or what's called Oxford Handbook of Applied Dental Science. It's similar to this book, but there is no editions. The pink book, I would advise on having the 7th edition. For the Blue Book, there is only one edition now. It's also a handbook. You can read about the basic dental sciences like physiology, embryology, biochemistry, microbiology. But this book itself is not really easy to read. The embryology part of it is important. The peds maybe slightly is important, but studying physiology from the Blue Book is not enough. Sometimes you need to read physiology from Vendor's book, which is a physiology book you can find on Amazon or online, where you can have like an ebook version and you can read more about physiology. Because in the ORE Part 1, they love physiology. There's a lot of questions about physiology, about respiratory physiology, cardiovascular physiology. So read about these subjects properly. You can refer back to your undergrad physiology lectures or exam material. The fourth book I would suggest is Anatomy for Dental Students, or any dental anatomy book. You have a lot of dental anatomy as well in the exam, about like this nerve passes through which foramen. You may have a picture of the skull and they would have maybe marks on the skull and tell you EMQ question, which like line or answer just meet this specific number on this picture. So you have to study it. Something I forgot to mention, the exam itself, the style of the questions is MCQs, so multiple choices, or EMQs, where you like link the best answer to the best landmark in anatomy or on a OPG. So that's the side and the kind of questions you could have in the ORE Part 1. The fifth book I would suggest is Essentials of Radiography and Dental Radiology. This book by Eric Waite. This book is very, very important. I would read it as well, as much as I can. It covers all things in regards to radiology. In the ORE, they love radiology. You'll have a lot about dental diagnosis with the radiology, diseases, the, let's say, shape of and the manifestation of amyloblastoma, dentigenesis, keratocyst. It's all covered there. In addition to the radiology, like errors in processing the dental images, the anode, the cathode, how like the ions transfer from one to another, what are the maximum dose, what is the safest dose. So everything is covered in this book, and it's a very important book to read in regards to the ORE. Other books I would suggest is Master in Dentistry. There is 2 volumes I would suggest. Volume 1 and Volume 2 about oral maxillofacial surgery, about restorative pediatric dentistry. Those 2 books are very enjoyable to read, a lot of pictures, a lot of illustrations. There's a lot covered in these books, so I would maybe suggest having a look at them and go through them. And the last book I would suggest to read is Medical Problems in Dentistry by Scully. This book is very important, even after you finish the ORE and clear it and you want to practice dentistry in the UK. Medical Problems in Dentistry, there's a lot about syndromes, about general diseases, about the complications that we could face in the dental settings. So everything is covered in this book. They do love it. And the main questions, to be honest, when I've done the exam in 2016 was physiology, embryology, radiology, and medical problems. So like oral medicine side of questions. All of these are important and they have to be studied and focused on extremely well to be able to clear and pass the ORE. Now, in addition to the books, I would suggest some resources, some websites to go through and read. The first website is the BNF. BNF is like the British medication formula. This website has the medications we can prescribe in dentistry, their indications, contraindications, side effects, so everything is covered. So it is an important resource to read from and just focus on the dentistry side of it. The second website is the RESIS website. It talks about medical emergencies in dental settings. So it is important for the ORE Part 1 and the ORE Part 2. So try to read through RESIS website and always really like revise it, memorize it by heart. I would suggest studying NICE Guidelines, which is National Institute of Clinical Excellence or Health and Care Excellence. This organization is based in Scotland. They do have guidelines on a regular basis, updated guidelines. The ones I would recommend on reading from there is the third molar extractions, prescribing in dent settings or in dentistry, and they've got more guidelines to focus and to cover. So NICE Guidelines, it's very important to read. In addition to this, I would suggest going through FGDP, or Faculty of General Dental Practitioners guidelines. They've got antimicrobial prescribing in dentistry. This is very important guidelines, and the dementia one. Both of these are important, so try to get them and go through these guidelines. It's easy to read, it won't take you long, but a lot of questions could come, especially on dementia, because of that recent thing about lasting power of attorney, how to deal with someone who cannot give you a proper consent. So there will be some tricky questions. If you read it and cover it, that would help you covering that side of the questions. I would suggest as well reading the BDA sheets, a lot of BDA sheets, but the most important ones, try to read them, the most up-to-date ones. Try to go through the GDC principles. The 9 principles talk about the GDC. There is a booklet they do have, you can have it for free online. So read through it and understand the GDC principles. Try to understand maybe the NHS system, the banding of the NHS. It's not very important, but maybe it's also a good idea to go through it. Now let's get to the important part. I mentioned all the resources, the things, the books, the websites I would recommend suggesting going through and read. But would I read them all and go through them? I don't think so. It's a lot of material to study. At the end of the day, it's an exam we have to pass, not an exam we have to score really high on it. We're not at dental universities or dental school. We just need to pass. We need 50% in paper A, 50% in paper B. So we have to study smart, not hard. Always understand the format of the exam. As I mentioned, it's done over 2 days. It's done in London, so you have to be physically there. It's done on the computer. So you sit on the computer, there will be a timer ticking and then countdown clock. You have to answer the 200 questions in 3 hours. So 200 in 3 hours, roughly, you have to divide the 200 over 180 minutes. So each question has about 1 minute and 10 seconds to answer. We need to be quick. We don't need to stop at one question and waste a lot of time. So always practicing past papers and previous exam questions would help to get you practiced on the format of the exam, get you going on the time management. You don't want to waste time. There's a lot of websites, a lot of exam resources you can go through and study. However, we've got our own special Dentests website. So www.dentests.com or .co.uk. This website, we've been working on it for the last 6 months or even more. We've got a huge question bank about all sorts of sides in dentistry, basic sciences, clinical sciences, everything. When you prepare through our website, it's about question banks. So we don't have the resources, but we've got the questions itself, which came previously in the exam and all answered by our special team of dental reviewers. We went through every single question to check the answer, make sure it's right. In addition to this, we tried to write down the explanation of each question, of each answer, with some maybe pictures, some illustrations explaining the things we're talking about in this question. So by answering these questions, you will study as well. You will understand the question style. You will go and prepare and focus more. You will know your weakest points. You will know the strongest points you've got, where to focus on when you study for the exam. In addition to this, in our website on Dentests, there is 2 modes of studying. You can either do the study mode where you can choose what subjects you want to cover. If you want to cover physiology, you want to cover embryology, restorative dentistry, and oral and maxillofacial surgery, let's say. You tick these options and then you click on create a study session. You can choose how many questions you want to have. You can choose the difficulty in the future, hopefully, so how difficult you want the questions to be. And then you'll end up with a list of questions, let's say 200, and you can answer these questions on your own time without a timer, and you can study. So this is the study mode. You can answer and then you can click check the answer. You will know if this is the right or the wrong answer, and then you will have an explanation at the bottom of why this is the right answer. The second mode is the exam mode, which makes our website special. In this exam mode, you will have 200 questions randomly selected for you. You don't know what questions you're gonna have. You've got a timer, countdown clock, which is exactly like the exam. Even the layout of the page, where the questions will be on one side, the question itself and the answers will be on the other side. There will be a next, previous button, submit button, and the flag, where you can flag the questions you're not sure about or the questions you haven't answered to come back to it when you finish all the exam session. With this, you won't know the answer. You will know the answers at the end of the session. You've got 3 hours, so you get yourself practiced on time management, on the exam layout, on the page itself, how to move, how to look. So it's a good practice to always study and do the exam mode. It's like doing mock, but likely to be the same or as close as it can be to the exam layout itself. Moreover, Dentist itself will have a forum for dental students where you can share your knowledge, ask questions, and other students will answer. Our administrators will answer these questions. If you've got any issues, we can always comment on this. In addition to always updated content, we always revise. If there is anything you think it's wrong, we can go through it and check and make sure it's the right for you, it's the right answer. Sometimes there will be some answers where we're not 100% sure, so you can always refer to us and tell us if you think there is something wrong. In addition to, in the future, we'll have some resources. So we may have some ebooks, we may have some flashcards, we may have some lectures where you can download and study, in addition to the question bank you're gonna have access to. One extra thing dentists will have also is live online lectures, and then will be a recorded online lectures. We'll start with this depending on the demand on how people will be asking. It's not going to be only for the ORE Part 1, it will be for the LDS Part 1, it will be for the MFDS, the MFD. So everything will be in one place, in one easy, user-friendly platform where you can scroll. If you're not even studying for the ORE, you can just revise your dental knowledge and always be up to date with the new guidelines and the advices. At the end of the day, Dentists is a platform to help you manage your time, practice the exam questions, and revise. May not be enough to pass the exam because you may still need to go through the up-to-date guidelines. You may need to read through some books. The pink book and the blue book are your Bibles. You need to have these 2 books and read them, especially the pink book. You can't ignore it from page 1 to the last page. Our website will be ready by the end of the year, so in 3-4 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks. So please subscribe to Dentists, leave your details, so you have the latest news, the latest updates. You'll have discounts to get on when you get yourself registered early on. We'll keep you posted, we'll let you know about it. At the end of the day, thank you for watching this video. Thanks for your constant support. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it easy to listen to. Dentists also will work more on the ORE Part 2, on the LDS Part 2 and 3. In the future, we'll have a bigger platform where you don't need to search in the market for the best course. We'll be there to help you, support you, and always manage to lead you to the success route. Have a good day, and I will see you in new videos. Take care.